Did you know there's a hidden battle raging inside you? A clash between your soul's deepest desires and the guiding voice of your spirit. But what really separates your soul from your spirit? Are they in harmony or in conflict? In this video, we'll explore powerful biblical stories that reveal the true roles of your soul and spirit, and how understanding this difference could change your life. If you're ready to unlock this mystery, give this video a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more insights. Tell us in the comments, do you feel the pull between soul and spirit? From the dawn of time, a silent yet powerful battle has been waged within every human being. The inner conflict between desires that fuel the body and a deeper voice of reason guiding us toward higher choices. This inner clash is more than a simple tug of war. It's a defining feature of our very existence. While it may feel uniquely personal, this struggle actually connects each of us to a larger, universal experience. Saints and philosophers, ordinary people and heroes, all have felt this tension, from impulses they could hardly resist to the quieter pull of wisdom whispering a different path. Figures like the Apostle Paul and St. Augustine were among those who grappled with this profound conflict, contemplating the very forces that shape human choices and identity. This inner conflict presents itself in ways we may not always recognize. For many, it surfaces as a subtle discomfort, a feeling that something within us is unsettled. It can come as a clash between what we want to do versus what we know we should do. On one side, there's the allure of immediate satisfaction. On the other, the steady voice of reason that tells us to seek something more meaningful. It's as if two parts of ourselves are each pulling in different directions. In moments of choice, these parts collide, and the way we navigate this collision can shape our lives profoundly. This isn't just a philosophical or moral question. It's a force that defines our personality, relationships, and ultimately the purpose we find in our lives. In this video, we're going to explore the nature of this inner battle, probing questions like why it happens, how it shapes us, and what spiritual teachings reveal about it. To understand this conflict deeply, we'll look at a fundamental concept that many believe is the foundation of our inner world. The idea that our being is made up of three parts: body, soul, and spirit. This tripart structure isn't a modern theory, but an ancient one, rooted in biblical teachings and supported by the insights of history's great thinkers. By understanding this structure, we see that the battle between desires and reason isn't random. Instead, it reflects the dynamic interaction between these three core parts of ourselves. So, what exactly are these three parts? Why does it sometimes feel like they're at war within us? In the next chapter, we'll dive into this idea of the tripart nature of humanity, exploring the roles of the body, the soul, and the spirit. Each part has its own function, its own voice, and its own role in shaping who we are. Through understanding this, we'll discover that the tension we feel is a manifestation of these elements working, sometimes against one another, sometimes in harmony. Let's begin by unpacking the foundation of our inner world and seeing how these parts can either pull us in conflicting directions or guide us toward a more balanced life. The idea that we are made up of three distinct parts, body, soul, and spirit, has fascinated thinkers, philosophers, and spiritual leaders for centuries. This concept of a tripart nature is central to understanding the inner conflict that shapes so much of our daily lives. Each part, body, soul, and spirit, has its own role, its own needs, and often its own direction. The body craves physical satisfaction and is driven by immediate desires. The soul, which is home to our emotions, thoughts, and decisions, seeks meaning, connection, and identity. And then there's the spirit, the part of us that reaches beyond the physical and emotional, striving for something higher, something divine. Together, these three parts form the essence of who we are, but they don't always work in harmony. In the Bible and other ancient texts, the body, soul, and spirit are described as different dimensions of the self, each one influencing our actions and decisions. The body is easy to understand. It's our physical form, the part that feels hunger, thirst, and pain. It is guided by instincts and immediate needs, always seeking what will bring comfort or pleasure in the here and now. The soul, however, is a more complex part of us. It's where our emotions, thoughts, and choices reside. The soul is what makes us feel connected to others, where we develop our sense of self and make sense of the world around us. And then there's the spirit, the deepest part of our being, which connects us to something beyond ourselves, a divine presence or purpose that transcends daily concerns. This tripart structure sets the stage for the inner conflict that we experience. Imagine it as three voices, each with its own perspective, sometimes working together but often pulling in different directions. When we're faced with a decision, whether to indulge in a desire, follow an impulse, or choose a higher path, these three parts of ourselves may respond differently. The body might push us toward immediate gratification. The soul might seek emotional comfort or identity validation, and the spirit might call us toward a higher, often challenging choice. This internal tug-of-war creates tension and often leaves us feeling torn between what we want, what we need, and what we aspire to become. Understanding the duality in human nature through this tripart concept allows us to see why decisions can feel so complex. It's not just about choosing one thing over another. It's about balancing the needs of the body, the desires of the soul, and the aspirations of the spirit. This internal structure, so deeply embedded in ancient teachings, highlights that our struggle isn't simply personal or individual. It's a fundamental part of being human. This duality, this inner split, has been recognized by countless figures throughout history who have struggled with the same questions we do today. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into each part, starting with the soul. We'll explore how it serves as the central hub of our personality, where emotions, thoughts, and decisions come together to shape our identity. Understanding the soul's role will give us insight into why we often feel divided, as it tries to reconcile the needs of the body with the aspirations of the spirit. At the heart of our internal experience lies the soul, the core of our personality, emotions, thoughts, and decisions. The soul is often seen as the place where our sense of self truly resides. It's where our unique identity is shaped, drawing from memories, beliefs, and desires. In many ways, the soul acts as the mediator, caught between the physical cravings of the body and the higher aspirations of the spirit. It absorbs experiences, reacts to emotions, and drives the decisions that shape the narrative of our lives. Without the soul, there would be no real us, no personal story, no character, and no individual perspective on the world. The soul is more than just a passive observer of our experiences. It's an active participant in shaping them. When we feel joy, anger, or sadness, it's the soul that experiences these emotions deeply, integrating them into our memories and shaping our outlook on life. It's also in the soul that we wrestle with the decisions that define our path. This inner dialogue, the constant weighing of options, considering pros and cons, and imagining outcomes, occurs within the realm of the soul. In this way, the soul is not just a storage space for feelings and thoughts, but the driving force behind our decisions and how we interpret the world around us. In the Bible and other ancient texts, the soul is portrayed as the battleground of internal struggle. It's here that we feel the pull between the body's desires and the spirit's aspirations. The soul finds itself swayed by both, trying to reconcile the need for immediate comfort with a deeper call toward something greater. This dynamic is what gives the soul such a central role in our inner conflict. When faced with a choice, the soul is often the part of us that deliberates, questions, and ultimately decides. It's the place where our personality is tested and where we make the choices that define who we are. This understanding of the soul as the center of personality and decision-making gives us insight into why our inner conflict feels so powerful. The soul isn't detached from our desires or aspirations. It's deeply affected by them. It's pulled by the impulses of the body, which seek instant gratification, and simultaneously touched by the spirit's call toward a higher purpose. This internal tension is what makes us human. It's the reason we feel torn, sometimes unable to commit to one direction or another. In the next chapter, we'll explore the role of the spirit, the dimension within us that seeks connection with the divine and aligns with a higher purpose. While the soul mediates between desires and reason, the spirit provides guidance, calling us toward truth, compassion, and purpose. By understanding the spirit's role, we'll see how it interacts with the soul and body, offering a path that, though often challenging, brings a sense of fulfillment that neither the body nor soul can achieve on its own. Beyond the impulses of the body and the complexities of the soul lies the spirit, the deepest part of our being, often seen as our direct link to the divine. While the soul wrestles with emotions, decisions, and identity, the spirit reaches beyond the personal and the immediate, seeking something timeless and transcendent. In many religious and spiritual traditions, including biblical teachings, the spirit is described as the dimension of our being that connects us directly to God or a higher truth. It's this part of us that longs for purpose, for understanding beyond the physical and emotional realms, and for guidance from a source greater than ourselves. The spirit's role is distinct from that of the soul and body. While the body is driven by survival and the soul by the search for identity and meaning, the spirit seeks alignment with something beyond earthly concerns. This alignment is often described as a path to inner peace and wisdom, leading us toward choices that reflect not just personal benefit, but also compassion, truth, and higher purpose. It's the spirit that nudges us to consider the impact of our actions on others, to forgive even when it's hard, and to pursue ideals like love, justice, and humility. It seeks a sense of completion and harmony that transcends our individual desires and ego-driven decisions. When we experience moments of inspiration, profound peace, or clarity in decision-making, it's often the spirit at work. This connection to the divine, or to a higher understanding of life, provides guidance that can seem at odds with our immediate feelings or the rationalizations of the soul. For example, while our soul might feel hurt and crave revenge, the spirit gently calls us to forgiveness. While the body may want comfort and the soul might seek affirmation, the spirit encourages sacrifice, generosity, or patience, pushing us to make choices that often require courage and faith. These are the moments when the spirit overrides our immediate concerns, drawing us to a higher purpose. The Bible and other spiritual texts often highlight this guidance as a form of divine communication, where the Spirit serves as a conduit for truth and direction from God. The Apostle Paul spoke of this frequently, describing how the Spirit guides believers towards a life that reflects divine principles, even in the face of worldly pressures. By tuning into the Spirit, we find a source of inner strength and clarity that empowers us to rise above immediate desires and emotional conflicts. This connection to the divine doesn't always eliminate our struggles, but it gives us a perspective that transcends them, helping us navigate life's challenges with a sense of purpose and peace. In the next chapter, we'll see how historical figures, especially those from the Bible, struggled with this dynamic between the soul's desires and the Spirit's call. Through their experiences, we'll understand how they balanced these inner forces, sometimes triumphantly, sometimes with great difficulty, illustrating the timeless nature of this internal conflict. Their stories reveal insights that resonate with our own journeys, showing us the challenges and rewards of listening to the Spirit over the desires of the soul and body. Throughout the Bible and Christian history, we find stories of individuals who faced the inner conflict between their soul's desires and the Spirit's higher calling. These figures, like the Apostle Paul, St. Augustine, and many others, struggled with the pull of immediate satisfaction and the challenges of pursuing a deeper, spiritual path. Their stories reveal that this internal battle isn't a sign of weakness, but a shared human experience, highlighting the complexity of our nature and the path to spiritual growth. One of the most striking examples is the Apostle Paul, who frequently wrote about the struggle between the flesh and the spirit. In his letters, Paul spoke openly about his inner conflict, describing the war within between his spiritual aspirations and his earthly impulses. He admitted to feeling torn, doing what he didn't want to do and failing to do what he knew was right. Paul's honesty about this battle shows that even those deeply committed to spiritual growth face real challenges in aligning their actions with their higher beliefs. This struggle isn't just about morality. It's a fundamental part of our journey toward becoming more aligned with our spirit. St. Augustine, another influential figure, experienced similar struggles, which he documented in his famous work, Confessions. Before his conversion, Augustine lived a life driven by his desires, seeking pleasure, status, and validation. Yet, deep down, he felt a persistent emptiness, an ache that his indulgent lifestyle couldn't fill. He recognized that his soul was restless, caught between the body's desires and the spirit's quiet call. Augustine's eventual transformation illustrates how acknowledging and confronting this inner conflict can lead to a life of purpose and spiritual fulfillment. His journey shows that facing the battle within, rather than avoiding it, allows for genuine growth. These stories resonate because they reveal a path that isn't about perfection, but about persistence in the face of internal challenges. Figures like Paul and Augustine didn't erase their desires. Instead, they learned to understand them, channeling their energy towards something higher. Their struggles remind us that the inner conflict we experience isn't a sign of failure, but an essential part of spiritual progress. By wrestling with their desires and aligning them with their faith, these individuals found a strength and clarity that came from embracing their human duality. In the next chapter, we'll delve into the practical aspects of this inner battle, how it shows up in daily decisions and the kinds of choices we face. From forgiving someone who's wronged us to prioritizing spiritual practices over comfort. These decisions reflect the ongoing tension between the soul's needs and the spirit's call. Understanding how others have faced these choices can offer insights into our own struggles and reveal how we, too, can navigate the daily battles that define our journey. The inner conflict between the soul and spirit plays out in the small, often unnoticed choices we make every day. It's in the decisions that may seem simple, but are deeply influenced by the pull of our emotions, desires, and aspirations. This daily battle shapes our lives, revealing whether we're led more by our immediate needs and feelings or by a commitment to something greater. Forgiving someone who hurt us, choosing prayer over extra sleep, or showing kindness in difficult situations. Each of these choices reflects the ongoing tug-of-war between the needs of the soul and the call of the spirit. One of the most common ways this battle appears is in our responses to conflict and hurt. When someone wrongs us, the soul's natural response might be anger or a desire for revenge. This reaction feels justified, even comforting, as we seek to protect ourselves or assert control. However, the spirit, often quieter but deeply powerful, nudges us toward forgiveness, patience, and compassion. This choice, to forgive or to hold on to resentment, represents the core of our internal struggle. Forgiveness isn't easy. It often means setting aside pride, overcoming hurt, and choosing a path that challenges our emotions. Yet, when we choose to forgive, we align more closely with the Spirit's call to seek peace, showing that we are not only reacting but consciously shaping who we become. Another example is in moments of spiritual practice versus physical comfort. Take, for instance, the decision to spend time in prayer or meditation. The soul might prefer to rest a bit longer, to enjoy the comfort of sleep or relaxation, while the Spirit calls us to dedicate time to connecting with the divine, finding clarity and gaining strength for the day. These moments of decision are about more than just time management. They're about where we place our priorities and how we choose to nourish our inner life. Choosing to follow the Spirit's call over the immediate comfort of the soul can reinforce a sense of discipline, peace, and purpose that has lasting effects. Even our everyday interactions can reveal this battle. Choosing patience over irritation, kindness over indifference, or honesty over convenience all reflect our ability to heed the Spirit's guidance over the emotional responses of the soul. Each of these small decisions, though seemingly trivial, contributes to our character and the way we see ourselves. They reveal whether we are swayed by every emotional impulse or whether we seek a deeper alignment with our highest values and beliefs. In the next chapter, we'll explore how the process of spiritual transformation and renewal plays a vital role in strengthening our spirit and reshaping our soul. This transformation, often a gradual and challenging journey, helps us redefine our thoughts, emotions, and responses, making it easier to choose the path of the Spirit. It's through this renewal that we find the power to navigate our inner struggles with more confidence and clarity, discovering a peace that comes not from the absence of conflict but from a balanced inner life. The process of spiritual transformation and renewal is essential for overcoming the inner conflicts between the soul and the spirit. This journey isn't a quick fix, it's a gradual reshaping of how we think, feel, and respond to life. Transformation begins with a commitment to change and a willingness to let go of patterns that no longer serve our highest purpose. Through renewal, we learn to align our thoughts and emotions with a more profound understanding of ourselves and our connection to the divine. This inner renewal isn't just about adopting new beliefs. It's about redefining our very nature and tapping into the power within us to make choices that resonate with peace and purpose. Transformation often begins with a shift in our mindset. Rather than reacting impulsively to every desire or emotion, we start observing and understanding them. This awareness allows us to break free from automatic reactions, giving us the clarity to choose our responses thoughtfully. This process of renewing the mind is mentioned frequently in biblical teachings, emphasizing the need to think differently if we want to live differently. Instead of being led by every whim of the soul, we begin to approach situations with a calm and grounded perspective, making decisions that reflect our spirit's higher calling rather than the soul's immediate needs. Emotional renewal is another crucial aspect of this transformation. As we progress, we start experiencing emotions differently. Where we once felt controlled by anger, fear, or sadness, we begin to feel a sense of peace, compassion, and resilience. This doesn't mean that we stop feeling these emotions, but we become less reactive, learning to see them as temporary states rather than defining aspects of our identity. Spiritual practices like prayer, meditation, and reflection help to reframe our emotions, allowing us to process them in ways that lead to healing rather than hurt. This emotional renewal not only helps us to overcome inner conflicts, but also strengthens our ability to respond with patience and understanding toward others. As our thoughts and emotions are transformed, our choices begin to reflect this inner renewal. Decisions that once felt challenging, like forgiving, choosing integrity, or making sacrifices for others become more natural. This isn't because we are forcing ourselves to act differently. Rather, our renewed mindset and emotions align us more closely with the Spirit's guidance. Through this transformation, we discover a new depth of resilience, finding that we can face challenges with a balanced mind and an open heart. The soul and spirit, once in constant tension, start working together, allowing us to lead a life where desires and values are harmonized. In the next chapter, we'll explore the idea of achieving a balance between the soul and spirit, looking at how this harmony creates a more fulfilling life. This balance doesn't mean eliminating desires or emotions, but finding a way for them to coexist with our spiritual values. By aligning the needs of the soul with the aspirations of the spirit, we can experience life in a way that feels both grounded and transcendent, allowing us to live with a sense of true inner peace. Achieving balance between the soul and spirit is a powerful state of harmony, where our emotions, desires, and higher aspirations align, allowing us to live with clarity and purpose. This balance doesn't mean we eliminate our earthly desires or suppress our emotions. Instead, it involves integrating them in a way that supports our spiritual journey, creating a sense of wholeness. When the soul and spirit are in sync, our choices feel more authentic, and we are no longer pulled so strongly in opposing directions. This harmony between our inner parts allows us to experience life with greater peace and fulfillment, guided by both our humanity and our spiritual connection. Finding this balance begins with recognizing the unique roles of the soul and the spirit. The soul, with its seat of emotions, memories, and personality, brings color and depth to our lives. It's what makes each of us unique and relatable. The spirit, on the other hand, is our guiding compass, pointing us toward values, truth, and purpose beyond personal preferences. When these parts work together, we can enjoy life fully, with the soul providing richness and experience, while the spirit offers perspective and wisdom. The key to harmony is allowing the spirit to lead, while the soul expresses our individuality within that framework of purpose. Living in this balance doesn't mean that we'll never experience inner conflict, but it does mean we can navigate it more peacefully. For example, when faced with a choice between immediate gratification and a long-term goal, the soul may lean toward the temporary satisfaction, while the spirit encourages patience and discipline. Rather than feeling torn, someone who has cultivated balance can acknowledge the desire without being ruled by it. They can recognize the soul's longing while still choosing the spirit's path. This balance provides both the emotional richness of the soul and the guidance of the spirit, leading to choices that feel both fulfilling and meaningful. Another important aspect of this balance is self-compassion. Rather than condemning ourselves for feeling desires or experiencing emotions that might not align perfectly with our ideals, we learn to accept them as part of the human experience. This self-acceptance helps us create space to respond rather than react, allowing us to choose actions that align with both our spirit and our unique personality. In this way, the soul isn't suppressed but supported by the spirit's wisdom, and the spirit isn't isolated from the realities of daily life. Together, they create a life that honors both our earthly experience and our higher calling. In the final chapter, we'll discuss practical ways to strengthen this harmony and how practices like prayer, meditation, and community support can help us maintain this balance. Living in alignment with both soul and spirit isn't a destination, but a continual journey, supported by intentional practices and a community that encourages growth. Through these practices, we can deepen our connection to both our inner self and the divine, creating a life that is balanced, purposeful, and deeply fulfilling. To maintain and strengthen the harmony between soul and spirit, consistent spiritual practices are essential. These practices provide a foundation, keeping us connected to our deeper purpose and helping us navigate the challenges of daily life with resilience and peace. By dedicating time to spiritual growth, we reinforce the Spirit's guidance and align the soul's emotional richness with a higher calling. These practices, such as prayer, meditation, contemplation, and studying sacred texts, serve as touchpoints that ground us, offering clarity and strength as we face inner conflicts. One of the most transformative practices is prayer. Prayer is more than a routine. It's a time to connect with the divine, seek guidance, and gain perspective. In moments of prayer, we open our hearts, allowing our concerns, questions, and desires to be heard. It's through this dialogue that we receive insight, comfort, and direction, which can guide us through our struggles. Prayer helps us align our thoughts and emotions with a higher purpose, reminding us that we are not alone in our journey. This connection is a powerful source of strength, particularly when we face decisions where the soul's desires clash with the Spirit's guidance. Meditation and contemplation are also powerful practices for nurturing the Spirit. While prayer is often an active communication with the divine, meditation and contemplation focus on quieting the mind, listening, and being present. These practices help us tune out distractions, bringing us closer to our inner selves and enhancing our awareness of the Spirit's subtle guidance. Meditation allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, helping us understand the root of our desires and fears. This self-awareness fosters a sense of peace, making it easier to choose responses that align with our higher values rather than reacting impulsively. Studying sacred texts, such as the Bible, can also deepen our connection with the Spirit. These texts provide timeless wisdom and insights into human nature, helping us understand the struggles we face and how to navigate them with integrity. Through studying these teachings, we gain perspective on our inner battles, recognizing that our challenges are part of a larger story. Sacred texts remind us of the values and principles that can guide us, reinforcing the Spirit's role as a source of wisdom and truth in our lives. Finally, journaling and self-reflection offer a way to process our inner journey. By writing down our thoughts, emotions, and decisions, we can observe patterns and gain insight into our own growth. Journaling allows us to revisit our experiences, understand our reactions, and see where the Spirit has guided us in times of need. It's a practice that cultivates self-awareness and helps us track our progress, encouraging us to stay aligned with both the soul's individuality and the Spirit's higher purpose. In the concluding chapter, we'll explore the role of community and grace in our spiritual journey. Maintaining balance between soul and spirit is challenging, but with the support of a faith community and the power of divine grace, we find encouragement, accountability, and inspiration. Together, we can strengthen our connection to the divine and to each other, finding resilience in a shared journey toward growth and peace. While personal practices like prayer and meditation are powerful tools for inner growth, the role of community and divine grace in our spiritual journey cannot be overstated. Spiritual growth, especially in the quest for balance between soul and spirit, is a challenging path that becomes lighter with the support of a community. Engaging with others who share our values and goals provides encouragement, accountability, and wisdom. When we are surrounded by others who are also pursuing inner peace and spiritual alignment, we feel strengthened, knowing we are part of something greater than ourselves. This collective support offers a sense of belonging and helps us stay grounded, especially in times of struggle. Community offers unique benefits, such as shared insights and diverse perspectives on the challenges we face. When we gather with others, whether in church groups, study circles, or informal gatherings, we gain a broader view of our own journey. Listening to the experiences of others can help us recognize common struggles and discover new approaches to our own inner battles. Community members can act as mirrors, reflecting aspects of ourselves that we might not see on our own. Their encouragement, especially when we feel conflicted or doubtful, helps us persevere, reminding us that the journey is as much about resilience as it is about revelation. Divine grace is another essential element in our journey toward balance and spiritual growth. Grace, often seen as an unearned favor from God, provides a foundation of forgiveness and acceptance, freeing us from the weight of our shortcomings. When we experience grace, we understand that we don't need to be perfect to be aligned with our spirit and to connect with the divine. This realization can be incredibly liberating, removing the burden of guilt and self-judgment that often hinders our progress. Grace allows us to embrace both our strengths and our flaws, trusting that our path is shaped by both, and that each step, whether forward or backward, is part of our growth. In addition, grace offers us the chance to begin anew. In moments where we may feel we have fallen short or given in to desires that do not align with our spirit, grace reminds us that there is always room for redemption and realignment. This sense of renewal is vital, as it keeps us moving forward even when we encounter setbacks. Through grace, we learn to extend compassion to ourselves and to others, understanding that everyone is navigating their own inner struggles and growth. Finally, a community centered on grace creates a space of acceptance where each person's journey is honored. It becomes a source of encouragement to rise each time we stumble, to forgive ourselves and others, and to keep moving forward. By supporting one another, we strengthen our resolve, finding comfort in shared faith and a commitment to a higher purpose. Together, we discover that the journey of balancing soul and spirit is one of continual growth, shaped by connection and compassion, and that grace is the foundation that allows us to keep moving forward. This brings us to the end of our journey in understanding the inner conflict between soul and spirit. By exploring each layer of our being, embracing spiritual practices, and leaning on the support of community and divine grace, we can strive toward a life of peace, balance, and fulfillment. Thank you for joining this exploration. May it inspire you to find harmony within and live a life of purpose, supported by both your inner self and those around you. And so, we've reached the end of this journey into understanding the inner conflict between soul and spirit. Throughout this video, we've explored the struggles we all face and how this battle shapes our decisions and ultimately defines who we are. By understanding the nature of our soul and spirit, embracing spiritual renewal, and strengthening our connection with community and divine grace, we lay a solid foundation for living a more fulfilled and purpose-driven life. If this journey resonated with you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on new releases. Now, we want to hear from you. What aspect of your life do you feel needs more balance between soul and spirit? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might inspire others on the same path. And if you know someone seeking purpose and inner peace, feel free to share this video with them. Together, we can build a supportive community of growth and transformation. Thank you for watching and for being part of this journey.